So what is we are going to see today? We are going to see this find element and find elements, both the commands as well as checkbox and radio buttons. Okay, I'll create one package. Packages will start with a small letter. It's a works in a camel case. Okay, find element in Selenium. Okay, we have two things is like to find the elements. One is find element, another one is find elements. Find here I created one class find element and elements. So we used many times this find element and find elements. This now I faced some interviews here. What is the return type of find element? What is the return type of find elements? These return types people will ask. So I'll copy the code, initial code, which is we are writing it, right? Or sometime. As your WebDriver initializing it, set system.set property driver and the browser and Chrome driver, and I'm doing it google.com. Okay, it's I hope you know this code, as well as driver dot find element. So find element, it is going to be written the single element or first element into the DOM. For example, there is a multiple elements with the same like .com, and you have inspect element, right? Once you do this inspect, if you say / input, here it is showing 1 of 9. There is a 9 elements which is input. If I'll do this again, enter, it goes on different elements, input and input. It's a 9 elements we have, input tag elements. So when you use this find element here, find element, it finds the element is the first element, DOM first element. Check, this will be the first element. Finds the first element. Let's give this by dot is a class dot tag name. The tag name is input, right? Input. So dot get attribute we have, right? Get attribute to be get the property. The name attribute will get it. What it is going to be written here. Okay, get attribute of name. The get attribute return type is string. So we need to be stored into the string. So let's print this, and which attribute or which DOM it is going to be written. It is finding multiple elements into the page. Still I'm using it with the input tag, and it was 9 elements finding into the space, and I'm getting the attribute of that particular. The name attribute value is source. Let's go back and see into the page. It is written this element. Instead of this, it is written this source. It is not the first element, right? It has to be written this first element. Let's run it once again. Is first DOM element. It is returning this second one here. Let's give this XPath, kind of XPath. Try to do this. it is printing the same. So it's actually, it has to be print on this particular element. I don't know why it is printing here. The second one, let's find out in this particular browser which is opened by the Selenium itself. Try to do this input here. The first term here, which is opened by the Selenium, the first term is input attribute, which is opened by manually. It was different, but in this it is showing the source. So guys, what I'm trying to give you this, are you getting the point? The find element, it returns the single element. If your XPath also is showing those multiple values, multiple results into this your expect element, it returns first element which is source into this particular DOM. So here for testing that, for testing this particular thing, and we done this by using this first particular input, and we got this name attribute. Are we sure now? It's like, you can see it's there is a 8 attributes it is finding with the input. Actually is finding in a input this page. I am doing this find element. First one is, so if you want to operate any element into this particular page, and if it is having a duplicate values as well, it operates the first DOM. It returns the first element. Do we have any questions here? So what is the return type? What is the return type of find element? Driver dot find element by dot whatever it may be, tag name or whatever it may be. So what is the return type here? Find element. Find element returns this web element, that is single web element. We have seen, right? First element of the page, first DOM element of the page. So web element. Is a return type. So whatever element you have, you can store into this web element type. You can do your operations. Good name, you can get it. This also is going to give you the same result. So you need to cache in into the string value is equal to this. You can print the value. Okay. Same thing. So whenever you are going to do this multiple actions or multiple operations on that particular element, you can store into this web element. You can store into this particular web element, and you can do this your multiple operations. Okay. So you got attribute, and you can check like whether it is visible or not, whether it is available into the space, disabled or not, or enabled or not, or visible or not. You can check it multiple actions, and then you can send also a value into the same element after storing into the web element. Instead of writing in the duplicate lines of code or duplicate code, you can store into this one element, and you can use this particular element to further steps. Any questions on this? So damn sure, note it down. Find element. What is the return type of find element? It's a web element. It's a single web element. Okay. So other one is driver dot find elements. Okay. By dot tag name only will take tag name, and this is input again. So So the find elements which we have done it's now was finding 8 elements right here. The same input it is finding 8 elements here. So find element was doing operation on first DOM element into the page, first one, which is identifying in the DOM. So find elements is going to be get this all list of elements which is listed into the similar kind of element. Whatever we have input tag, inside this input tag, it is there 8 elements into this particular page. All 8 elements is going to be printed or list. Okay, the return type is list. List of web element. List of web element. Or by easy understanding, element list. It is going to be, I'm storing into this element list. See here, the list is download from the Java util. So list of web elements is returns find elements. Find elements is going to be list all the element which is similar kind of elements into the page. Return type is list of web element. List of web element. We will store into this list of web element, and then you can find out element list. In essence, it is going to be find the how many elements is there in that particular page. How many elements is there in that particular page. So size is going to be written the int. The return type is of size is int. So you can store into the int size equal to int size is equal to elements dot size. So it is going to be give you some number inside the size. Let's see. How many elements it was showing into the space? 8 elements, right? The size also need to be written or give this value of 8. Yes, it is giving the 8 because in the page you can see here it's 8 elements is there. Total list of elements with the input tag 8 elements is there. So find elements is going to be written the list of elements inside the page. Okay, so the return type is list of web element. Find elements is list of web element is a return type. You understand find element and find elements, right? When we use this find element, when we are operating or doing any operation on that particular element, the single element, we can use the find element. And it works on the first DOM element into this particular page. When it comes to this find elements, it is going to be list the particular elements or similar kind of elements into the particular page and store into the list of web elements, and you can do your operation. If you want to print it and if the people knows this for loop, you can loop it. For initializing it, I'll come to this for loop and how to do this, what is for loop and how it works and everything. Just I'm giving it now. Int I equal to I'm initializing the I with a 0. I'm putting the condition here, like if condition true or false, right? This is the condition statement or segment. I can give it this I less than size. Where I found the size, right? It's a 8. Size is a 8. I less than size I plus plus. I'm increasing here. There is a three segments into this. One is initializing, and checking the condition and increasing the values, I value. So then you have all the elements here, now you want to print it, all the listed element. This is out. Here you have element list, this is an element list entirely. You can print directly also. If you wanted to get attribute of some attribute as well, I'll tell you how to do that. Let's print now what it will return. See here, it's printed all the input tags. Name is input. All are inputs. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 inputs is there. Okay, it's printed. So you are not understanding what is exactly it is. Okay, I want some attribute values. Let's try. I'm also trying it. Getting this index, like I want first element attribute, second element attribute, third element attribute, right? To getting this first or second or third, what I am using it, that get method of the index of element. The index starts from the 0, right? I value. I'm giving this I here. This is first time. When it comes first time, its index is 1. And second time 2. Third time 3. And I want to get attribute here. Get attribute of all input tag, get attribute. It's like whatever element is having the input tag, for that tags, these are all, right? I want to get this name attribute. Okay, name attribute, like on top what we have done it, name. So let's do it now, what it will return. First element name was source, second element name is EI, and like that you have all 8 elements attribute of name values. And if you wanted to be click on this after listing it, you can also do the click operation when this attribute name is equals to or contains some value here, and then you can do this your operations and all. That's we look into this later sessions. Find element and find element. So another thing is, if you can understand it, is find elements and find element, both are search context abstract methods. Search context is the interface and this is the search context methods, and it is implemented into the remote WebDriver. We have more further discussions, what is search context and what is WebDriver, what is remote WebDriver, Chrome drivers and all. Just we are learning very basic things now. We have more subject coming up. So if we clear about this find element and find elements, we jump into the selecting radio buttons, checkboxes, and then drop down. Created a main method giving this WebDriver driver system.set property. It's like whatever it is, and using this new tools application, you can see it's like this flights, whatever reservation way, you have some radio buttons. Okay, I'll give this same link to our code. This is our page. Okay, in this page to find out this round trip or one way. I want to select a one. Okay, so one way is a radio button which I wanted to click it. So to click this radio button, we use the method of click operation. On a link, a button, radio button, checkbox, and these all are web elements receives a click operation. So what is the XPath of this element, or any properties we can take? Yes, we have a name, type radio, name we have, our value also we have. Let's try with the name, driver dot find element. So for single element, right? And if we want to click on single element, that is a what method we use? Find element. Find element as dot name property we are using here. Name is this dot click for the radio button. Dot click for the radio button. Okay, I'm running it. Let's see whether it will work for us or not. It is not clicked. It is not. I have received the same this operation into this particular element, other element. It's not thrown an error, as well as it is not clicked on it. So what is the unique element? Unique element and unique value. Let's try this. So I'll write this. Two elements is there in this with the same name, and one way and round trip. So it took this round trip. This our operation is put into this round trip. So instead of this, I want to use this two attributes and attribute values in the XPath. What I can do, I can give this AND operation and give this other attribute of value. Value is one way. Okay. Then it will be unique, right? One way. Now it is going to be received one way only. I'll give my XPath. Use two attributes, single XPath. You have what AND operator will do. This also has to be true, and this also has to be true. Both are true, then only it works. Input tag, which is name, should be trip type, and the value should be one way. Both are true, then only it do the operation. This one way radio button, and I'm doing it. If the radio button is, for example, it's a earlier when we have worked with the trip type name attribute, it clicked on again this round trip, right? If there is a mechanism, if second time if you click on the radio button, it may be take out this selection, right? Checkbox will do the same. So if you don't want to get again clicking on this already selected one, what you can do? What we can do here? We have a method to check whether it is selected or not. Dot is selected. Is selected. Is selected is going to be written a Boolean value. If it is selected, it returns true. If it is not selected, it returns false. So Boolean value. Okay. So it is not selected as of now, and I kept here, as well as after selecting, I'll keep once again with a different variable. Now selected. Okay. I'll print both the first time selected, it's printed false. Third time, this now selected is printed true. So if it is not selected first time, right? It was one way is not selected by default, right? It returned the false. After clicking on this one way, it returns the true. Each selected is going to be find out the radio button is selected or not. So here, if you don't want to click again and again, which is selected already, you can put the condition of if selected is not true, then do this your operation. Okay, do this operation. Then print selected. Okay, do it. This is a boolean. If condition will take this boolean value like true or false. So you are checking this boolean value, it is selected or not. If it is false, it will not execute. If it is true, then only it will execute. Now it's a we kept in reverse case. Reverse case. Let's do what it will happen. As for my understanding, it has to be print as selected, because it is into this reverse case. See, it is printed the selected, because the if statement, if the statement is true, then it will execute. If the statement is false, it will not execute. So let's keep not. What will happen? The selected is a false. If not selected, it's a what it is going to be doing. Let's do it. Now it is true. It went inside this and it clicked on it, then it went to. Any questions here? So make sure to be use this is selected. Sometimes this radio buttons may unclick. When you are selected, when you are clicked it, and it will deselect it. If it is selected, no need to be do any operation on that, right? And if it is not selected, you can do your operation. So let's see this checkbox. His name should be small letter. We have here this checkboxes. Let's try to use this. Okay. Get a class, and I'll change this URL to this having this operation. So portions. Try to use this ID to do this. Driver dot end element dot ID value is this. What operation we do? Click operation for the checkbox as well. So let's do it directly. It's thrown an error. Setting no such element, unable to locate this one. So what is the issue here? It is inside the frame. So I want to switch to the frame, then need to be doing. The concept of frames, I'll explain you later. Is done this checkbox. I clicked on this checkbox. Do it once again. After giving this 5 seconds or 2 seconds, do the same operation. What will happen? Let's sleep. Giving this 2 seconds, 8, to do the same operation on the same element. 2 seconds wait and clicked again, it's deselected. Okay. So here, see the checkbox, one time you clicked it, and if you are clicking in second time, it is going on deselecting option. So here we need to be make sure whether the checkbox is clicked or not. For example, one time you executed, some checkboxes are selected. Other time you are executing the same code. Also you want to select the same checkbox and you do this same code execution. That time it will repeat the click operation. So it deselects, but your understanding that is selected. So instead of that doing, you can put this if condition here when you are doing this second time or first time as well. If condition, the condition is so this is selected and store into this boolean selected or not. You are checking with the boolean value, and later point you can do the condition of if checkbox it is not true, in the sense if it is not selected. If it is selected, it returns the true. If it is not selected, it returns the false. It is false. So now I'll say not selected. If not selected, then the operation. What operation? This is click operation. So I'll remove all these things. I'll do, once it opens, I'll click myself. See what will happen. It's already clicked. It's already written true value. So it's not done anything. It's not checked it, then it printed. So let's do it normally. Then also it will click on it. If I'm not doing any operation manually, we'll selected. So make sure to use this if condition, and before that verify whether it is selected or not. If it's not selected, then only do the selection operation. I'll tell you the concept of drop down. What is drop down? What are the things will be there? So we have a multiple drop downs, multiple way of doing this drop down. So what is one is single drop down, multi drop down, single and multi. It's like what is a single drop down and what is multi drop down. If you may guys have seen it here, whatever values you have here and whatever values is here, it's a single drop down. So you can select a single value. If you want to select other value, this automatically selected value will not be there. So single drop down. It's just single drop down. It comes to this multi drop down. The single drop down, majority of the places will see the single drop down. See, it is a multi drop down. You can select multiple values. You can select multiple drop down in this. So it is a multi drop down. So single drop down, you can select only the single value. In a multi drop down, you can select the multiple values. So in a single drop down, you can select by index, select by value, select by visible text and all, but only one value you can select it. When it comes to this multi drop down, you can do the select by index, select by value, select by visible text, and also you can deselect it. If you don't want to select this value, you can deselect as well. Deselect by index, deselect by value, deselect by visible text. So this is the two variants we have. One is select by, another one is deselect by. So when it is going to have the single drop down, deselect will not be applied on that, because when you are using this other value, selecting other value, it's automatically deselects. When you have the multi drop down, you need to be deselected, because multiple values will be there. You can have a option of deselecting few options, and few options will be keep it like that. So we'll do that single drop down and multi drop down tomorrow.